In a peaceful village, surrounded by tall trees and glowing fields, there lived a bright green parrot named Pico. Pico wasn't an ordinary parrot, he had a gift. He could speak clearly, understand people's emotions, and above all, he always told the truth. Everyone admired him for his honesty, and children loved to gather around to hear him talk. Pico lived in a small wooden cage outside the home of a kind farmer named Rafe, who took care of him like a friend, not a pet. One warm morning, a big announcement spread across the village. The king himself was visiting to see the famous talking animals of the region. The villagers rushed around preparing food, cleaning streets, and decorating the grand hall. Rafe was excited too. He wanted to take Pico to the king, not for fame or reward, but because he knew Pico's honesty could make the king smile. But in the same village lived a greedy merchant named Kamal. Kamal had always wanted Pico for himself because he believed a talking parrot could make him rich. He tried several times to trick Rafe into selling Pico, but Rafe refused every time. When Kamal heard that the king was coming, a wicked idea crept into his mind. If he could steal Pico and present him to the king first, maybe the king would reward him with gold and treasures. And so, late that night, when Rafe fell asleep, Kamal sneaked quietly toward the farmer's house, tiptoeing in the shadows, determined to steal the parrot. Pico, though half asleep, sensed something was wrong. When Kamal reached into the cage, Pico flapped his wings and squawked loudly. "Thief, thief, help, help," he cried, waking Rafe instantly. But Kamal, acting quickly, covered the cage with a cloth, grabbed it, and ran into the darkness before Rafe could catch him. Pico tried to shout again, but Kamal tightened his hold, whispering angrily, "Quiet, you silly bird. From now on, you belong to me." The next morning, the king arrived, greeted by excited villagers. Meanwhile, Kamal rushed toward the palace with Pico hidden under a cloth. When he reached the king, he knelt down and proudly said, "Your Majesty, I bring you the most intelligent parrot in the world. He speaks the truth, obeys orders, and would be a perfect royal pet." The king, curious, leaned forward. "Let me hear him," he said. Kamal uncovered the cage, expecting Pico to praise him. Instead, Pico ruffled his feathers, stared straight at the king, and with a loud, clear voice declared, "I was stolen. I belong to Rafe, the farmer. This man is lying." The entire hall gasped. The king's eyebrows rose, and he turned sharply toward Kamal. "Is this true?" he demanded. Kamal's face turned pale. "No, Your Majesty." The bird is confused, but Pico interrupted. "He took me in the night. He covered my cage so I couldn't call Rafe. He lies to everyone for money." The king, now certain, ordered the guards to take Kamal away for punishment. Then he gently opened the parrot's cage and let Pico climb onto his arm. "Truth is a rare treasure," the king said kindly, "and you, little parrot, are very brave." But Pico shook his head. "Please, Your Majesty, I want to go back to Rafe. He loves me even when no one is watching." Hearing those words, the king smiled warmly. He called for Rafe to come forward. When Rafe entered and saw Pico safe on the king's arm, his eyes filled with relief. The king placed Pico gently into Rafe's hands and said, "A true heart deserves a true friend. Take him home and keep him safe. And from today, you will be rewarded for your kindness and honesty." The villagers cheered as Rafe and Pico walked home together. That night, Rafe placed Pico back in his wooden cage, not because Pico needed it, but because it was his cozy little home. Pico felt safe again, knowing that the truth had protected him. And from that day on, whenever children visited Rafe's house, Pico would lean forward on his perch and say proudly, "Always tell the truth, even when it is hard. Truth makes you brave." And the children would laugh, clap, and promise to remember Pico's wise words forever.